Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Rewatch. My name is Samuel.
And I'm Jed.
And we recently just hit 100 subscribers, bro.
Yeah.
Pat on the back to me.
Nice.
Pat on the back to you. Thanks to all the viewers for subscribing. And today, we're going to celebrate that milestone by going through our 5 favourite film moments of all time.
Yep.
Moments from any film, any genre, and we're going to go through them in order. We're going to start off with number 5. Jaden, take it away. What comes in at your number 5 favourite movie moment of all time?
My number 5... Wait, before we start, can I say something? Okay.
Yeah.
So, we've obviously done a top 5 movies video as well, which you can find on our YouTube channel as well. This list, it featured a few from that, but it also had a few different ones, which I found surprising because, you know, obviously, favourite movies, you expect favourite moments from those movies, but I chucked in a few other ones from there, which I kind of enjoyed.
Okay.
But I'll kick it off with number 5. We have Baby Driver. And you're probably going to guess what scene it is. It's the intro scene. Every single time I watch the film, I think it starts off perfectly. You know, you have the car come up, and then we obviously get the action kicking off straight away. We see all of the people in the car get out, and they go to rob the bank, and then Baby's obviously doing, you know, his own solo in the car. And then we transition onto a more, you know, fast-paced action sequence where, you know, the car's trying to get away from all the cops. You get, you know, the timed music, you get all of the sirens, everything's in sync. I think the choreography is beautiful, some of the camera work's beautiful. Edgar Wright used a lot of shots where the camera is so close to the car that it looks like it'll hit it, and that's an actual person standing there with a hand camera. And I think one of the other scenes in the film, there's a camera that goes into the car, so it swerves around, and then the camera like goes in the window, and that's someone just like holding the camera right next to the car.
Right.
But yeah, I think everything in that scene is just so well done. You know, the music in particular is just the standout and how it syncs with everything. But that's my number 5.
Awesome. Okay, coming in at my number 5 favourite film moment. This is from the film La La Land. I'm going to coin this moment as the welcome to Seb's moment at the end of the film. We've seen, obviously, the romance between Emma Stone's character and Ryan Gosling's character. It really comes into a full emotional sort of climax when Emma Stone... we do a bit of a time jump, and Emma Stone comes back into the club, or the jazz club, and she sees Ryan Gosling up there, and he simply says, "Welcome to Seb's," once he notices that she's in the crowd. And yeah, it's a really powerful moment, and sort of, you know, what the entire film has been building to, and it really works as the finale and the sort of the emotional payoff for that relationship. I think it's, you know, the best part of the film, so it's one of my favourite movies. But this was a great moment, but more specifically when he leans into the microphone and he says, "Welcome to Seb's."
Yeah.
Love it.
I love that as well. It's a great moment, yeah. Rightio. So, kicking it off with my number 4 moment, we have The Dark Knight. Look, I think the film overall just works really well. You know, to me, it's a perfect film. I've said this multiple times. But, you know, trying to just put things above it, there's things from other films that have just like killed the one shot. Like,
yeah, okay.
They've absolutely nailed that moment. But The Dark Knight is just a perfect film in general. But just picking a scene from The Dark Knight, I mean, it has to be the ending scene.
Okay, interesting.
Where we see, obviously, Aaron Eckhart's Two-Face get turned over onto his good side. You know, we hear all the, you know, Batman's lines. And then, you know, Gordon's kid, who's like, Jim Gordon's kid's like, you know, Dad, why is he running?
Yeah.
And then, you know,
because we
Batman's
have to chase him.
Exactly, right? And then Batman's running off into the dark, and
The Dark Knight.
The Dark Knight, exactly. And, I don't know, I feel like the ending was just so well done. They absolutely nailed it.
Christopher Nolan is so good at ending his films.
So good at endings. And the music as well, it's so good. And then even like the title sequence like that comes up and it's dun, dun, dun. Yeah, it's just so good. And every time I watch it, and with most of these things, actually, I get goosebumps from the scene because it's so iconic.
Yep.
That's my number 4 placement.
Okay, awesome. Coming in at my number 4 is from Star Wars Return of the Jedi.
Ooh.
It is the Ewok celebration.
Yes!
So this is the end of one of the best movie trilogies of all time, and we just get to see our favourite characters that we've gone on this journey with, these characters that we can relate to, that we love and care about so much. They've won, they're having a great time. They're partying with these furry, like, little bears that are running around making cute noises. C-3PO's dancing, R2-D2's doing his boobs, Chewbacca's hugging people. Everyone's just having a great time. And there's nothing else that can really sort of personify wholesomeness in a film. Mm-hmm. But it's that moment there that just really gives me goosebumps. And I'm like, damn, this is Star Wars. They've won. Isn't this so great? The galaxy is just going to live in peace forever.
Yeah. That's really, that's a real good moment. Like, it's a real wholesome, like you said. It's a simplistic moment as well when you compare it to the scale of Star Wars. You know, it's just some Ewoks and some droids and some guys hanging out just celebrating. Yeah. But I have a question for you real quick. So, obviously, we see the Force ghosts.
Yeah.
And George Lucas is known for going in and tinkering things.
Yeah.
So the original ending in 1980, I want to say?
Yeah.
It might have been 83. We obviously see the Darth Vader actor play Anakin Skywalker. Do you prefer the original or do you prefer it with Hayden Christensen?
Hayden Christensen being there just gives me a headache in terms of timelines and what do you age as a Force Ghost or not. I think he should have just left it. This is a conversation we can have when we do Return of the Jedi, but it just gives me a bit of a headache. So I'm going to go the original one. So with the original Darth Vader actor coming back as a Jedi. I like that.
Okay, we'll get more into that. Yep. Rightio. So coming at my number 3 placement, we also have another Star Wars film.
Oh.
It is Star Wars, or coined as A New Hope. And I had quite a hard time picking one from Star Wars because I knew a Star Wars film was going to be in here. I mean, it's Star Wars. I grew up with Star Wars. It kind of it defined me as a person, really. I'm sure Star Wars is a big part of your life as well. And I knew Empire Strikes Back is my favorite film, but I feel like there's so many iconic moments from A New Hope that I just had to go with one from there. And in particular, I chose the Force Sunset or the Binary Sunset.
Yes. Goosebumps.
And most of these things that I chose on my list, they feature iconic scores, probably by John Williams. But yeah, I mean, the score is always fantastic. Obviously, the shot is just beautiful. It's so simplistic, but it's so beautiful. We see Luke walk up onto the sand hill or the sand dune, and then we get his sort of face illuminated by the double suns, and just the music. It's goosebumps again every time. I watch most of these scenes on YouTube, like once a month. It's just another beautiful shot in history. Yeah, it's kind of one of the most popular shots. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so coming in at number 3 for me is from Toy Story. I'm going to call this moment the Buzz meets the toys moment. So this is the moment where Woody climbs up on the bed and we get that shot of Buzz's feet and Woody's head sort of like, just perching up above the bed. And yeah, the music there is great as well. But just the dialogue of this delusional Buzz Lightyear thinking that he's a real space ranger, and then these toys are all introducing themselves, and the dialogue is just so full of great little nuggets that you're just like, that is so clever. There's such clever writing, and for me, that's the best scene in the entire Toy Story franchise, and it's the most entertaining moment for me because that delusional Buzz Lightyear is just so hilarious, man. And seeing, Mr. Potato Head and Rex and Slinky all introduce themselves, and Woody's, a jealous idiot, and Buzz thinks, that he's this real space ranger and his spaceship's crash landed, and So all of it just works really, really well, and for me is one of the best, one of my favourite film moments of all time.
Yep. Radio. Coming in at my number 2 placement, we have Pirates of the Caribbean: The Curse of the Black Pearl. You already know the scene that it is. Come on, let's not be.
Is it?
Let's not lie.
Why is the rum gone?
It's not why is the rum gone, but it's another scene, a very, very iconic scene. It's the introduction of Captain Jack Sparrow.
Of course.
Come on, I mean, how do you define a character within less than a minute?
Yeah.
The film nailed it. I mean, we get everything in this one snippet of a moment. You know, we know who Captain Jack Sparrow is. We know he's some drunken pirate. We get everything from it in this one scene. The music, again, so beautiful. And just the shot, it's like vivid in my mind. The shot where we see the ship sinking and he's standing on the top.
Yeah, and just sort of steps onto the dock.
Sinking, and then he slowly steps onto the dock.
Yep.
Man, the scene is just so perfect to me. I mean, whoever did that and whoever shot that, whoever wrote that, is just a genius. Like, how do you come up with that sort of stuff? It blows me away every time. I love the scene so much.
Okay, coming in at number 2 for me from The Amazing Spider-Man 2, this is Gwen Stacy's death. Now, this is one of my favourite film moments. Mm-hmm. Because of how sad and tragic and just how incredibly depressing it is. You know, it's not 5 happiest film moments. These are our favourite. This is my favourite because of how it delivers that emotional, you know, exactly what it's supposed to do, that emotional sort of reaction within you of, oh my gosh, like this is horrible. What on earth has just happened? But I think in this scene, when Gwen Stacy does fall to her death, there is slow motion that with great CGI effects. It has been set up really well so that, you know, she didn't die because of Spider-Man's fault or because of her own fault. It was just, you know, the whole theme of the movie is some people, you can't stop time, right? And that's literally what Spider-Man's doing, is he's holding the clock together, but the clock ticks over, everything falls apart. And just the inevitability of the situation is portrayed really well. Great acting from Emma Stone when she's falling. She sort of does this like sigh, like you hear like the air come out of her, like she's just fallen, and that always gets me. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm about to fall too. That's how I feel. And but yeah, the whole scene could have been an absolute disaster. But for some reason, man, it sticks out as just an incredible film moment. And I think if you ask sort of comic book fans, this is like one of the best things about the entire franchise was how they handled this. Obviously fantastic acting from the Spider-Man reacting to the death, and beautiful music as soon as we do get to confirm that she is dead. There's like this wide shot of the tower, and it's sort of like soft, like, and it's like, oh my God, like, it always gets me, bro. And I can see it coming, I sense it coming too. It always gets me in the feels. So that's got to go for my number 2 spot. Just
before we jump into number 1, I have to respect that ranking because, you know me, I like to bash on the Amazing Spider-Man films. But, you know, we'll get into this film eventually on the podcast. But I just wanted to say here that I think that moment is one of my favourite moments from the film. I love the acting from Andrew Garfield in it. I think he's great in that moment. Really shows how good of an actor he is. Obviously, both of them acting is really good. And I like the moment where we see like this little web hand sort of reach out. I love that as well. It's a real good scene, I have to admit. It's a pretty good scene, but I'll let you talk about that because that's your placement. But we'll get into that another time. Rightio. So coming in at my number 1 placement. Number 1. We have The Lord of the Rings.
Oh, okay.
The Two Towers.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
Right.
So, you probably don't know which scene it is yet.
I have no idea.
You have no idea. It is Sam's speech.
Oh,
and if you don't know what it is...
No, I know, I remember.
You know it?
Yeah, you go though, you go.
Yeah, okay. So, Sam's speech is... I feel like it's just one of those things in cinematic history that is so rare, we'll probably won't see it again for another, 40 years. It's such a defining moment of cinema. And I think Sam is such a good character in the way he inspires Frodo to get up, and we see when he's talking, we get like shots over him talking, so it's not just him.
Yeah.
But we get shots over him talking. We see the massive battles. We see the Nazgul. I think it's such a terrific moment in the dialogue. And I think some of it's actually taken from Tolkien's original novel.
Okay.
So it pays homage to that. And it's just such a beautiful moment. And I regularly watch it on YouTube because it's so fantastic. Mm. And every time it gets me. Like, it's just such a unique scene in that way that you can't resist it. It's just going to happen. And even Gollum's reaction to it, like, it shows how, Gollum at times is a very bad person,
yes,
if you could call it a person.
Yeah.
But even him in that, scene, he's kind of starting to water up, and his eyes are sort of watering up.
Okay.
It's such a powerful moment. It's a really, really great scene. And man, Peter Jackson just absolutely nails it.
Okay. Interesting. Now, is that like towards the end of the film? Is that like the big lead into the third act, or is it more of the lead into the next film?
I want to say it's about 3/4 of the way through.
Okay.
So more towards the end. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Because with the Lord of the Rings, sometimes I can't figure out what moment is in which film, because they will just blend together.
It's such one big long marathon. It's
just a big movie.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
They just cut up. It's just brilliant.
Yeah.
I have to get onto that sometime. All right, coming in at my number one moment. You wouldn't have been able to guess this in your life, my friend, from the movie Man of Steel.
Oh.
The scene from Man of Steel that I think is my favorite film moment of all time is Superman's first flight. Talking about iconic soundtracks, it doesn't get much more iconic than Hans Zimmer's First Flight song. Mm-hmm. My goodness, it is without a doubt the best comic book best comic book song, in my opinion, that we've ever seen. And in that moment, we get some great character moments, some inspirational speeches from Russell Crowe saying, fly, son, you can show them this, you can save the world, and yada, yada, yada. And then we get that Superman shot where he puts his fist on the ground and the rubble moves away, and the music that builds up and builds up and builds up, and then he takes off, and it's like, my goodness, what an incredible moment. I mean, Zack Snyder, his films have been a bit meh some of the times in terms of the characters, but my gosh, he knows how to do a good moment, and I think this is one of his best, and this is exactly how Superman should be portrayed. We should want to be up there flying with him.
Yeah.
And this scene does that. He flies off. He goes through Antarctica. He goes through the Sahara. He's just like flying all around the world, and with this incredible soundtrack that just goes full volume. Zack Snyder doesn't hold anything back. He just goes all in, and it is quite magnificent. And we'll also get some quite good character moments too, with Henry Cavill sort of smiling as he takes off, and portraying how it feels to be able to fly. Obviously, it would be such a cool experience, and the acting by Superman himself is really, really good. So that's a moment where I'm always like, yes, like I'm flying with Superman. So yeah, that's got to come in at my number one film moment of all time.
Great pick.
I think we've encountered a few films that we want to do on the podcast.
Yep.
So stay tuned for that in the future. Thanks again to everyone involved in the podcast, Jaden, and thanks to all of our guests for coming on so far.
Oh yeah, this is a 100 subscriber celebration.
Thank you so much for 100 subscribers, and we hope you'll stick around for far into the future. So
yeah,
thanks for now, and we'll catch you next time.
See ya.